Hi, this is In Case You Wanted to Know. My name is John. In the house is Derek. And of course, our favorite, Mr. Jim Henderson. How are you today, gentlemen?
We're doing great, John. How are you?
I'm well.
We're fired up to talk today about 10 sustainable items you can buy to live more sustainable within your home. And it's an interesting list. There's some things, some food for thought there.
Is this a list that you just pulled up, like a Google search, or use AI, Derek?
Yeah, so I did do AI, but I took several lists that I found and let AI kind of tell me what was the most important, with a focus on easily able to achieve. So if you're in your home and this is something you could start doing today, these 10 items.
So these are things that aren't going to cost you $250,000 to do.
Correct. It's just simple things that you can think about and start applying into your daily life, daily ritual, and it will not break the bank.
Nice.
Let's jump into it then, because I got the list that you sent out, Derek. And the first one, you put down what they call smart gardens, and you sent me a link to this group called Gardyn, Gardyn.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably a good plug for them, because this company, their specialty is it tells you everything that's going on with you. So it's a smart indoor way to get fresh vegetables and whatnot. And I'm kind of a skeptic of those kinds of things, because it's just so much work, and you got to do this and this and this, and you're away for a couple of weeks or this or that. And I did the reading on it. I was very impressed, Derek, because it makes it really simple. You can shut it down when you're away for a few weeks, and then amp it up, and you can watch it. It's digital, and you can watch it from away and see what's going on. Have a neighbor go in and pick things and take them to their house or whatever, if you're gone for a season or something. So that really caught my attention, and having owned and been in homes as a child where we had big gardens. I always associate gardening with a lot of work, a lot of water, and a lot of human resources. And this is pretty cool. I think it's worth looking into, and that's. It piqued my attention. I think it's. I don't know all the details about the carbon offset, but I'm sure if let's say you had 20% of homes had these, there'd be a huge carbon offset. And plus you don't have to worry about the chemicals and all that stuff that they use.
Sure.
We had to use chemicals to get the tomato bugs.
There's also a mental health component to this. So those who struggle with seasonal depression, they're in a colder environment, having fresh vegetables, having fresh herbs in your house with a bright light helps. And being able to eat the way you do in the summer in those cold weather climates has an effect on it. And so that's another added benefit of being sustainable within your home.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about winter if you're up north, and there are actually growing seasons in the South. There's better times to grow than others in the South, and this is year round, so it's pretty cool.
This is a very cool product. I just pulled it up, and again, we have no affiliation with Gardyn. They're not sponsoring, though we have got a slot for you if you want to. It's mygardyn.com, and that's Gardyn. Very cool product, relatively affordable. It looks like even an idiot like myself could probably get this set up and run with it. So very cool product. I appreciate you throwing it out on the table.
This is an interesting one. It says energy efficient lighting. And, we're into the sustainable home building, as some people know, and not just homes, but any type of structure with steel and solar and whatnot. And so one of the criteria for having a green home, by the way, and you get certified in that, builders, green home
certified.
Builders, yep. They talk about energy efficient light bulbs. Well, it's kind of an oxymoron, because it's been, 10 years now since they were, you can't buy an incandescent bulb. You have to get them on the black market now. So technically, light bulbs, if you have an incandescent light bulb in your house, either it hasn't been used very much or you bought a new one on the black market somewhere. That's my opinion, but I don't know. I mean,
You getting your incandescent light bulbs out of the same van that you buy your high flow toilets out of.
yeah, exactly. But so I think that's a given. Any new house, if you go to the grocery store, I got to get a light bulb. They're all going to be energy efficient. I mean, some might be a little bit more energy efficient, but they're all 300% more energy efficient. We know that than an incandescent. And the prices are reasonable, and they last forever.
So Jim, for those, there's always a curmudgeon out there. It's like, that doesn't look like a light bulb to me. What do you say to them?
Well, there are probably not very many of those people, and we are talking to the masses who hopefully care.
I'm a grumpy old man. I don't like everything the way it is now compared to the way it used to be.
Just placate them and say nice things and let them move on. And there's few of them. So, you kind of just say, okay, smile and move on, because, when they go to the hardware store, when they finally need a bulb, they're not going to find an incandescent bulb. I haven't been able to find them. They're pretty much what we call dinosaurs.
These darn hippies getting these weird light bulbs.
Yeah. Well, they were very expensive when they kind of started coming out, but now
the energy efficient light bulbs were.
Yeah. And now, we don't think twice about dropping another, $3 for a pack of these versus what we used to buy for almost nothing. They are always going to be a little more expensive.
Another thing about the energy efficient, like the LED lights, they're brighter.
Yeah.
You have more options with them. They are a higher tech, more modern light source than old school incandescent bulbs ever were anyway. So you have that. Or candles. Yeah. You have that added benefit too.
We're on pace for a 4,000-minute podcast. We're only at 2, so let's keep moving.
Okay. This is real easy. Water saving fixtures, install low faucets. Sure. I think almost anyone. I mean, I've replaced faucets and shower heads multiple times in my house, and I think also, like the light bulbs, many of these are high efficiency. It's the older homes that haven't replaced them, and if you do have an old home that hasn't had a faucet or a shower head replaced in the past 5 years, when you go to the store, you're going to find that you're going to save water, because again, most of them are kind of built that way because that's what the consumer
industry standard.
Yeah. So
what about what about the curmudgeon that's out there? It's like, I don't need a shower head that doesn't actually have any pressure.
Hyperjet Flow, Stockholm Superstream, you name it.
What do you recommend?
Now, what are you looking for? Power, man. Power.
Like Silkwood.
That's for radiation.
That's right.
Like I said, there are few and far between. So
okay.
We're trying to get the masses, not the.
Well, I have one at home, and it does have pressure. It's fine. It's great. I don't see the difference. I don't feel the difference. I quite like my shower head, and it's highly efficient.
John, what I'm sensing here when he says the curmudgeon, I think he's talking about himself. Do you agree, John?
I think he's
the curmudgeon.
I think he's talking about you.
I'm not a curmudgeon. Just because I'm old doesn't mean I'm like.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. What else do we have?
Composting.
Okay.
Again, you have to have a certain audience for that. You need this. I guess you could compost anything, but then what do you do with it if you're in an apartment or a high-rise condominium where they kind of frown on you taking that compost and putting it out in the lawn or something? I mean, what do you do with a composted if you don't have a garden somewhere? But
there's gators down here, and there's one that lives outside of my back patio. I could hypothetically not compost it and just chuck that stuff out there.
He'll take it.
Yeah, he'll eat anything.
Your food scraps will not go to waste.
We do not advocate feeding your food scraps to alligators, nor do we advocate trying to get to know and become friends with the massive neighborhood reptilians. In fact, it's probably best to just avoid the alligators altogether. There. We said it.
All right, what else do we have?
I don't know. What do we have, John?
Let's see. Well, little things, solar-powered chargers for your battery banks. Even there are full-size generators now. Backup. Well, I don't know if I would call it a backup generator. might not be quite that big, but generators that you can use to power up small devices up through. I've seen generators, battery-based generators that you can charge using a small solar array with these small panels that actually fold up for storage.
Yep.
Now, granted, it does take a while to fill one of these when you're just charging it via solar, but these battery generators, some are large enough that you can run welders with and run
For
really
like 30 seconds.
longer than that.
Okay.
I think Jackery is one of the companies that's making these battery-based generators. But the solar-powered chargers are great too. I've seen them. You can buy backpacks that a little solar panel goes on the back. Now, are you going to charge your car with it? No, you're not.
No.
But it's I think it's one of those great devices where it's an every little bit makes a difference kind of thing. Give us another one from the list, Derek.
I like the concept of upcycling, reusing your clothes, going to secondhand shops and shopping there, taking old furniture, restoring it versus buying new, bringing it to people. There's a lot of our, really handy folks out there that will sand something down and refinish it and make it look beautiful. We have a friend that is he's got some health issues that are not going to end, and he was really good at that. And we saw it firsthand all the time here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way of living is once you buy a really nice piece of furniture, it should stay in the family. And when it gets beat up and dinged up, well, there are people out there to bring that back to life. And that's far better than going down and cutting down more trees.
100%. And I think too, there's so much you can just DIY on your iPhone. And if you don't know how to do it, there's going to be 100 people that put a post together.
Yeah.
And you can walk through. I mean, and it is true, repurposing furniture. And I would say the Gen Ys, Gen Zs, even some of you Gen Xs, are going to get into that. Us baby boomers, we just want to throw it in the dump. I've had enough of it. But some of that stuff is art. It's becoming collectible. Some of it.
That's what's cool about upcycling is you don't have to be a master craftsman to do it. You also don't necessarily need to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for somebody else to do it.
No.
As you said earlier, Jim, there's a lot of DIY videos out there that can show you how to do stuff. If you have an old dresser that, is falling apart, you can maybe take the piece of wood off the top, buy yourself a couple of shelf brackets, and now you've got, a piece where you can put your Emmy award.
So some of us are not very capable.
Moving out. We've got some other stuff and these things like reusable water bottles, switching over to a stainless steel water bottle or things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now, these are not new items, of course, but I think there are some of the items that are easily forgotten. I know right now I have some of the stainless steel water bottles. I still find myself kind of instinctually grabbing for a plastic water bottle occasionally.
Yeah.
A reusable one, but plastic over the stainless. And there's arguments against that, but it happens.
What I've been doing is taking these tabs called Nuun, N-U-U-N. We're happy to take your money, Nuun.
Sponsorship slots available.
But I will use the aluminum water bottles and put a Nuun in there, and it tastes better. I'm not a water guy. I don't like water. I like to have some flavor with it, and that's a good way to do it. And you're obviously helping the environment.
Yeah, drinking water is good. We all need to drink more water, and I direct that at myself too. We have a guy that we've worked with for over 20 years. And he has an objection to drinking just water because he believes it's going to rust his pipes. So he sticks to Mountain Dew.
Depends how much iron he's putting in his body, and I suspect there's not much.
Oh,
so
he literally just walked by my office. I'm looking at him right now. He's upset that we're talking smack about him on the podcast.
We didn't mention his name.
No, we didn't. But those who know us will know him.
The other thing is I have a friend that says he doesn't drink water because fish pee in it.
Oh, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of. Hey, I want to get back to one because I know we want to wrap this up, and we could talk about this. Let's look at the solar panel to wrap it up if we could, because I think of all the things we've talked about, would be the larger investment. We started talking about, small investments, and this is a larger investment. And here's the challenge. What would 20 panels on a roof cost, and what would it do in terms of carbon footprint? And there's many programs available, really low interest loans, home equity loan you can get immediately for anything to make your house more efficient. And 20 panels installed might only, with the tax credit and everything, might only be, $8,000 or $9,000, or maybe even less. The prices come down quite a bit. And if you finance that over, your mortgage as a home equity loan, it's only going to be a few $100 a month. And here's what happens. Let's say 20 450 watt panels. I did the math in a year, depending on where you are, but on average, it's going to save about 15,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. That in itself, if you were to take like Florida, where there's 9 million homes, and took 20% of that, so you're 180,000 times 15,000 pounds. It's a lot of CO2. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we need to stretch ourselves a little bit, and we are big proponents of solar, particularly in Florida and anywhere where the sun shines, which is the entire world, because if it didn't, there wouldn't be trees. So I'd like to, throw that out to anyone listening, is take a few minutes. Don't poo-poo it. I live in Maine and it doesn't work. Yeah, it will. You might not get 15,000. Right. You'll get 12,000. It's only maybe 15% more or less sunshine in Maine than there is in Florida collectively throughout the year. So you just put on, instead of 20, maybe put 22 panels, and you're still going to get that 15,000. And at the end of the day, what's really cool, if you do this, and we've done 4 projects now, you can get an app on your phone and it shows you how many pounds each day you're saving. And what a cool concept to be able to know the actual impact daily that you're making. I mean, our warehouse, we're up into the, I don't know, it's
up there. You know what?
Thousands of tons.
We'll put some screenshots of the performance of the warehouse into the podcast.
Let's do my house too, if you want.
Sure.
I'll we can download that, and then people. Anyway, whenever I share with someone who doesn't know, I say, this is what I'm doing at my house right now, and you pull it up and it's live, and it shows what you're putting back into the grid and what you're saving the environment. Minute by, it does it every 15 minutes, so it updates. But it's cool. You can look at the end of the day and say, I get pretty excited. Yesterday, we hit the 80 plus kilowatt hours because the sun's getting higher and higher. And so when I hit 80, I can do anything I want and I'm still carbon negative. I put like 30 kilowatt hours back onto the grid for other people to use, and it's all carbon free. And so if you're not selfish and you realize it's a bigger cause, it's a cool way to look at it.
Well, I think it's a great way to wrap up this episode too. So challenge yourself to take some of these little steps to becoming more eco-friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't cost much. It doesn't have to cost much, and you can feel good about it.
And you should also use bamboo toothbrushes.
Sure.
They're biodegradable.
Yeah. I mean, they're biodegradable, and it's far more comfortable than brushing your teeth with a brick.
Correct.
I just use my finger.
That's really sustainable.
Well,
not efficient.
There's no waste.
No, I don't use my finger. That's silly.
He spends a lot more time at the dentist, but there's no waste from the toothbrush needs.
Why shouldn't you brush your teeth with your right hand? Because that is what toothbrushes are for.
Oh, seriously.
Gleaming.
Look.
Ding, ding.
God, the bright.
I've never lost in my life.
Oh my God, it's so bright.
Now we're giving away too much info. Gentlemen, this has been a great conversation. I look forward to the next one.
We'll see you later, John. Thanks, Derek.